All
What
right.
is going on, America?
Fuck.
Did I scare you?
A little bit.
My bad. Was that too
Okay.
loud?
No, it's fine.
Power. Money. Total control. Deny the lie.
Welcome back to another episode. My name is Simone,
My name is Tony.
and this is the Deny the Lie podcast.
Yes, and if
I
you're a
like
new
that.
listener, we like to talk about government control, spirituality, and current events. The topic that is part of everyone's mind right now. Let's talk about
Yeah.
gas prices. Yes.
America.
Woo!
Represent.
Okay. So, let's see. Let me look at my notes. Uh okay.
We did a little
So
like
so Biden's trying to do a gas tax, which is going to be a 3-month holiday that takes off $3 from the total bill per tank. The
hmm,
reason why that's important is because it'll suspend the 18-cent per gallon federal tax on gas. And the federal government charges 18.4 cents on tax per gallon of gas and then a 24.4-cent tax per gallon of diesel. So they'll suspend the tax for about 3 months through the end
yep.
of September, which will cost about $10 billion. It's crazy how you control the gas prices, but you have to suspend. It, my brain hurts.
No, it's okay. I just like, dude. Well, first of all, this tax pays for like the control of the roads, right? There's some construction that the tax pays for.
I don't know, dude. I remember I watched a video prior to this, and he literally said, like, he had the audacity to kind of say this. Just it just made me face plant. Are we wrong to support Ukraine? Are you saying we were wrong to stand up to Putin? Are you saying we have to lower gas prices, but an iron fist in Europe? I'm like, dude, you
Oh, yeah,
understand
I saw
you
that.
understand that the gas and oil is still coming from Russia, except we're getting it through India? Doesn't really seem to make any sense to me.
Well, we have our own oil reserves, and isn't it like a life supply too that we have?
Well, right, but that would go against Biden's whole point of
Right, right.
going green and being electric.
Well,
So he's
what
not gonna do
powers
that.
electricity though?
Coal,
Oh,
which
okay.
is
But
even funnier.
what makes cars like it's obviously plastic in the cars. If everything is made out of oil, right?
I mean, oil's a renewable resource.
Right. So that's what I'm
The
saying. Like I don't know
education
why
system failed everybody, but
there is
it is a
this one
renewable
thing that
resource.
there's this one thing I saw that just a little off topic from your gas price, but if everything is electric, isn't it easier for the government to control that because they could just shut down your car, you know?
Mhm.
So, I mean, it makes sense, but
Also why they're trying to get rid of cash and making everybody go on uh, doing electronic banking. That's the point of that is
no,
it's
thank
kinda
you.
like what China does, if you go against the if you go
They
against
just
the
get rid
government,
of your money.
they just turn
Like
you off.
no, yeah, no thanks.
Probably shouldn't be
Okay.
laughing, but
Yeah. Back to your point, sorry.
it's okay. Uh, I think that was my main point on the gas
Mhm.
tax. I just think that it's super funny how he's like, "Yeah, I know it's bad, but, like, Ukraine, man." It's like, "Dude,
We are wasting our own
we
troops
had
on
we
that,
had
sorry.
no reason to be in
To
that
go. Mm-mm.
into that affair anyway."
And it's like he took the troops out of Afghanistan, which is I think a little bit more deadly
Oh
in
my
that
lord.
scenario for citizens there, and then shoves them into Ukraine.
Yeah,
Trump
it
Trump did have a nice alliance with Putin, and we were able to get nice gas, but that's revoked now. So
yeah, that's what happens when you shut down the pipeline. And dude, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, you have the power to change all these things,
yeah,
and they're not gonna do it, and, Biden dude's not running anything clearly. I think he's gonna end up being the scapegoat for why everything he's literally no, he is the scapegoat as
he
to
is a
why everything's
scapegoat.
going so bad.
Right. It was Trump. We blamed everything on Trump which is what the media did, and now it's Biden, but we don't see that heavily on him because he is a liberal
No,
president.
they still love him. That's the whole
Well,
point
yeah,
of
that's the
the media.
thing, and yeah, that's why I see. I mean, people do blame more publicly. People blame Biden more, but if you see it in the news media, like seeing all those liberal things, they don't criticize him whatsoever,
Exactly. Dude,
which is funny.
did you see that video of Biden falling off a bike in Delaware?
Yes, that's so funny.
So I wanted to bring this up. So I used to be a CNA, which is like a caregiver for older people. So I've dealt with people that are, senile or just need help. And
Mhm,
he doesn't look the same, dude.
mhm.
He
I
doesn't look
didn't
like
believe it
he
at
doesn't even
first,
look like Biden.
right? I mean, this when you told me that, I was like, you got a good point. I didn't see it as first, but if you look at the comparison pictures of his like speech face when you see him in public versus on that bike, it was very, very different.
It just he doesn't look the same like the same person. On In the video, you look at it and you look at his legs. If this dude's 80 years old, his legs are, while they are small, of course, but there's clearly more wrinkles and
Hmm.
they should look more beat up. And along with his face, he has. Give me 1 second.
You to pull
He
up some
has.
detail.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making sure that I'm seeing this correctly. Okay, yeah. So his face is still a little wrinkly, and I mean, could be that the sun was hitting it a certain way or whatever, but I don't know, dude. It just doesn't seem right to me. He looks like
Well,
he's a little bit fatter in this too.
right, and he has a lot more freckles and like aging spots in his face, and in that video, I don't see any of that, and he's
Right.
very,
That's
very tan.
exactly. That's what I was trying to get at. Is that there's aging
Right.
spots, there's wrinkles. Like if you see the legs of an 80-year-old man,
Right.
they will disgust you.
What are those purple veins called? I forgot.
Veins.
No, there's like a spider vein or something. I don't know. Okay, I'm not a doctor, but Mans didn't have any of that. I was like, okay, what are they feeding him?
I don't know. It just doesn't look right. I mean, might help to have money, of course, but I
True.
don't know. It looks a little strange to me.
Hmm. Yep, he's definitely a puppet. The way he fell too, he was standing up and then he went to go put his foot down and then just fell. I mean, I've fallen on my bike multiple ways, and so I mean, it can make sense on how that, but how he fell perfectly in front of a whole bunch of news crew seems a bit
It
staged.
felt like it was staged, yeah.
Yeah, very
It didn't
staged.
feel right to me. Okay. Oh my dude. Okay. Well, I'll let you move it on to a different subject. I just thought that was kind of funny. And
Yeah, I mean, and if you guys can't tell, we're literally just going to be going over some headlines in America right now because there is a lot of chaos going on between the two.
there's so much going on that we just kind of have to talk about it.
Yeah, it's fun because it involves opinions, facts, and all of that stuff. So now we got those topics out of the way. Obviously, a really big piece is Roe v. Wade. So the protests with all of that, and the first point that I came up with, for kind of in a conspiracy theory approach, is that the whole reason why they want to have abortion or get rid of it is because there's not a lot of white babies anymore in America, and they're trying to push it non so racially. So if we upon that act on all women, it's considered fair. And according to Slate News, for the first time in history, more than half of American children under the age of 1 are members of the minority group. So white babies are going to be
Well,
considered the minority in
well,
that.
wasn't that their goal to begin with?
Well, that's what I thought, but again, our country was founded on old, white, conservative, racist people, so I don't know if that's like
I
an
don't
agenda they
know.
have or
It wasn't founded on those. It was founded on 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds like myself who had the balls to sail away from England and start their own thing.
right, but that was
Like
back then when
that's
there was slavery, right? And they
eh,
didn't like
eh,
races and
I guess so.
okay, that's what I'm trying to say
Point
is
to
like
point.
they're again, I don't know why this is just in a conspiracy theory approach that I've seen from multiple public figures on TikTok, YouTube, news, all those just conspiracy theory guys out there. Like it's just the white agenda. And I don't know why so much. I think that's just another approach to seeing that they just need more white babies because again the population is declining.
I thought you just need more babies in general.
Well, that's
It
yeah,
would
just
Wouldn't
mhm.
it make sense to have more minority babies so that white people are kind of, you
See
know,
that's yeah, that's what I thought. But who are the more Republican voters?
hmm,
White people. And who voted for the to overturn Roe v. Wade? The Republicans in the Supreme Court.
huh. Well,
So, I that's just another approach I have to it. Here are a few arguments that I've seen that why women and men even are against the overturning is because one, babies are expensive. Kids are getting shot in school either way, so the chances of your child getting shot in school is pretty high right now. Not enough supplies in the stores, like baby formula, things like that. And it doesn't matter if they find the cure to cancer because they will be killed by the government anyways, which this leads into one of your findings that you had on the guy who got shot in the Buffalo
oh,
supermarket, was it?
hold on. No, this is the guy who drove his car through people in Times Square, but that's kind of different.
Oh, okay. So then let me touch on the Buffalo one just real quick because it ties in. A lot of people are saying that who are pro-lifers, like, what if the kid becomes like to find a cure for cancer or find a cure for AIDS or blah blah blah. The thing is, all those people that have done that have been killed by the government because the healthcare system profits off of these, illnesses. So it makes sense, and so I can understand that argument saying like, well, you don't know what they would could have been. Well, the thing is, like, the government doesn't want those kids anyways.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said that they have potential to be something
Mm,
more than that. Wouldn't
right.
necessarily they probably let me say this correctly. If they weren't killed, I think that they could still contribute greatly to the world because they could easily be some sort of Stephen Hawking like
Mm-hmm.
genius, but they could help with other issues that, won't get them killed. And the reason why the government does that is because they already have the cure for all these things
Right.
and they don't want it being released to the public because then they don't make any money off of it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Um, but I know we talked about this in a few episodes ago on this is just like how I can see the face of abortion is like when the mother is not ready, the soul knows that. So it's prepared for that through abortion and blah blah blah. But I not a lot of people believe in that way or think that way. And so when it comes down to is when it comes to Republicans and the vaccine, it's my body, my choice, right? And that's a little bit revoked now from for women in a few states. And so I just think that if you don't like something, then don't do it.
Hmm. What do you think about women or girlfriends like making their husband or boyfriend get like vasectomies? Because I thought that that was a big thing too.
That
It kind of made me
yeah.
laugh.
Well, it's funny now that that's the thing that decides men to help their partner out because women have started birth control from the get-go, way back when. And it's caused multiple health problems. Like you can get tumors in the liver, gain a lot of weight. There's a whole bunch of other side effects. But now it's now men stepping up and helping their partner out by not, getting trying to get pregnant. And I think if they're okay with it, I think it's a good thing. I don't know if there's a lot of health effects with that. I'm not too sure if you know.
I mean, I haven't gotten a vasectomy because, I'm 19 and like you still have your penis. They snip some stuff in the low hanging fruit and then it just makes it infertile.
Mhm.
So you can still shoot stuff. You just can't
Right.
get any but
And I've
can't
heard it's
like
reversible too.
it
Correct.
is reversible. You can like snap it
Hmm.
either way, but yeah, having scissors near that is not a fun idea.
I mean,
It
if
does
it's
hurt.
easier, if yeah, I've heard it does hurt, but the healing process is pretty quick. from what I've seen on the articles. I haven't heard too much health effects. That's why I was asking to see if you knew anything about it. I know birth
No, I
control
don't.
has
I
a
don't.
lot of health effects.
Yeah, I don't know anything about vasectomies. I just know that guys over a certain age usually get them because you're kind of at that point where
Yeah.
you're not having another kid,
Yeah. And
and
honestly, I think it's great if guys do that and they know their girlfriend or whoever doesn't want to have kids and they're stepping up to make sure that, she doesn't have to be on 1,000 different birth control methods like tying your tubes, IUD, and all of these things are very painful except, taking the pill, but that causes lots of health issues. But I think it's a nice step up.
I mean, it's a nice thing to do, but I don't know if I would feel comfortable if my girlfriend or wife came up to me and like told me like, "Hey, you got to get your snippety snapped," and I was like, "Why?" I mean, I don't know. That's
Not-
a kind of controversial one for me.
Well, I mean, again, that's a conversation you have with your partner. Not everybody thinks that way, which is normal. That's a part of, having a choice for your body, right? So you get the choice to do that. The same thing with women when it comes to abortion, but it depends on what state you are now. Yeah, it's just all these arguments saying like who for these women that are stepping up are like, well, can you name a medical issue that issues men something on their body, like any law that forces men to do something or has to act a certain way on their body? And there isn't. And I know in some states, like the Republican states, that women are forbidden to have an abortion. So it just goes to show that was it geographical states or where a woman is born now affects her rights on her body.
Hmm.
But those are just some arguing points. Again, I'm not trying to put my opinion out there because it's up to you. Like, um, if you don't agree with it, cool. And if you are for it, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to personal opinion, and it's all about the philosophy that you see with it. I remember
Mhm.
I was in a philosophy class in college, and this was actually one of the things that we had to talk about in a discussion post was, do you think abortion is in the eyes of the beholder? And I remember I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking about this." It was so uncomfortable, and uh the certain philosophies are that the soul is in the baby before the baby is kind of conscious or actually like physically moving. Then there's others that say no, it the soul is assigned as soon as the baby starts moving or is born into the world.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really it's just it's kind of a shit show.
Yeah. I mean, again, like we don't know, but it's the point. Like, if this is where the argument is hard. If you abort that baby at like 7, 8 months, I mean, it is living. It could live on its own. That doesn't make sense. But the argument is more abortions are happening because of miscarriages, and that like the mom needs to save her life in order to have this abortion. And people don't realize that's more occurrent in abortions. And so when you get rid of that, that leads a lot of women into more health risks. And so, it's funny because now in the state of Texas, the rapist has a shorter term than the mother who gets an abortion. And I don't agree or can understand that.
Mm. I think it should be a matter of question instead of looking at it as just is abortion okay? I think it should be, can you live with the live with your decision either way. Live with yourself with no matter which decision you end up
Right.
following with.
A lot of women have issues with that. It's just like,
Because I
why?
I know that there are some people that do regret it and
Mhm.
other people that uh they don't take a second thought with it.
Right.
But
I agree with that.
I also want to pop the question as in, does like so worst case scenario is the woman gets raped and it's really bad, pregnant, alone, single. It's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
why would you force someone to go with that? Why does she have to care for that child if she didn't even want it?
yeah, I understand that part, but I don't. know how to stand with making the kid pay for somebody else's mistake. That's the part that I'm still trying to come to terms with and trying to
Mhm.
understand. That's why think it's I don't think it's all the way right, but I don't know if I could say that it's wrong either. That's where I'm kind of at because I don't, I've never been a woman at all. My 20 years of existence, I've never been a woman. So I
Right.
don't know all these things. I don't know what it's like to have a period. I don't know what it's like to have nausea when you wake up when you're pregnant or some shit.
Yeah. No, but
So I don't really know.
right, that's the argument a lot of women are making. It's like, well, why make a men decide what I can do with my body?
Well, here's what I want to ask you though. So let's say that you got pregnant with, a guy that you liked. You
Mhm.
don't want to have the kid anymore, or at all,
Mhm.
but he does. Do you
Right.
think that you could be financially compensated for that if it was a
Well,
high enough price and achievable?
right. I okay.
That's where I think you're able to draw the line and come to like a sort of a agreement
Mhm.
is if you give me my son, I'll pay you whatever you want, but, you don't have to take care of it. It's just, let me have my kid because I want a kid.
Right. Well,
Or does that just
depends
make you
how
a
no
baby
it
factory?
no, well, it depends on how soon you find that you're pregnant. It's considering the fact that the seriousness of the relationship, are we engaged, are we married, or we've just been dating for, 3 months. A lot of men don't even pay child support, and women don't pay child support if the husband has to take care of the kids. So I don't even trust that process. And then I have to worry about my life. I have to worry about my career. So if whoever I was dating was like, "Yeah, I'll take your kid," maybe I'll consider, but I actually have to go through with giving birth, and I don't ever want to do that because that just sounds horrid. I personally I would feel bad for getting an abortion because that's just like that's a big thing to say, but personally, if I find out that I'm pregnant within like a few weeks, then I probably wouldn't carry that baby because I just don't want to do that, and I'm only 20 years old, so
Right.
and I still have a whole life to care with. And that's the thing with women too, in her career is because a lot of people won't hire them because women have to have maternity leave, and that's like 6 months, 7 months out of the office, and they're downed upon because of that, and because they have to take care of kids, and they're usually gonna be missing work days for school events, blah blah blah. So it's challenging to have children. I think it's why it's important to have a choice. And I'm not saying a lot of women do it for birth control reasons because that's extreme. But um yeah, and that leads to the point of like but again that just affects like the question of why does it matter, and that's up to the individual. And in speaking of individuals, I think this leads me to my next topic of people in the office and people who voted for those actions is that I think senators should have terms. I don't know if you agree with that or not. House
I
representatives.
I can agree with that part. I
Hmm.
mean, what bothers me about politicians or people in office in general is they say they're for the people and they're not.
Yeah.
We've seen that for a majority of my lifetime anyway, and it's only getting more apparent is that they promise things and then
And then they don't do it.
they don't deliver or they do
Hmm.
kind of the opposite of what they say they're going to do. And I think people only care whenever it starts to affect them. Like everyone was like, "Yeah, let's get Trump." I'm just going to use Trump and Biden. It's the easiest one. I'm not too familiar with too many senators, but
Right.
it's like, "Oh, let's get Trump out of office and put him with Biden." And then because, Biden cares for us and he cares for the people. Does he though? Cuz if he really cared for you, everything would be not as
Chaotic.
expensive to
Yeah.
even just be a person right now, and it's getting too expensive for you to even exist or for me to
Right.
even leave my house.
Yep.
So,
They honestly either party doesn't do they say they're going to do. Biden had multiple opportunities to officially have that document of, Roe v. Wade. Obama could have done it. They never did it. The Republicans say a whole bunch of things that they don't even do. But again, look at the people that are in the office. The ages of people in the office are pretty old, in my opinion. I mean, Amy Barrett, 50, Brent Kavanaugh 57. They're kind of in the mid age range, but Clarence Thompson 74, Stephen Breyer 82. Why are all these old folks in the office still and it's 2022? They've been in there for years,
Well, that's the
25 plus.
well, that's simplicity because of just of they're making a shit ton of money.
Well, yeah,
That's the only reason as to why they're in
in
there.
there
They
so
were
long.
bought and
Yeah.
paid for. That's the whole issue with politics in general, is that
They're all sponsored by something.
you need individuals that can't be bought and paid for and
Exactly.
genuinely care about the people, because
We
there's no
don't have
reason
that.
as to why somebody should be making 30 grand a year in Washington going into the Senate and they come out nearly a millionaire. That doesn't make any
Exactly.
sense to me.
Yep. I totally agree with that. And
They
just
can
it
never
just
stick
like
figures.
yeah. And these people were born in the 1950s, 1960s. So their views are very different from what it is now. Our
Exactly.
g- ex-
They're not gonna be in the best interest of the people because they're a different
exactly.
generation. They're what? Nearly twice my age.
Yep.
Like,
No,
it
they're
doesn't
more than twice
yeah,
your
they're more
age.
than 2 times they've been alive 2 times longer than I have. So
I
they're obviously not
yeah,
gonna be in touch with the newer generation, and they're not gonna
exactly.
understand what's important to this generation, and they're
And
not
our
gonna
needs.
care because
Exactly.
they're getting paid so much money that why would I try to make their lives better when, I'm living at the top of my food chain and
Mhm.
I'm living life and eating shit tons of food and having fun and I get to fly my private jet around. Why would I want to help anybody under me because,
Right.
they're all just servants anyway. That's
They're
what they
making
see
it
you as.
exactly. And the people they target are already retired. They don't add much to society right now.
Well, the
So
thing is that
why
if you're on the Senate, they could literally be in their dying bed and
telling you what to
they
do?
you'd still have to do what they say. They could be absolutely senile and have Alzheimer's and not even know anybody's name, and you'd still have to listen to them.
Exactly. And that to me, it makes no sense. And I mean, the president has terms. They should also have terms. I don't want a 82-year-old guy telling me what to do when he has no interest, again, in what you said and what the public actually wants. So a lot of the things that they go for are very against our society and they're trying to divide us. So another topic of the Miranda rights. The Supreme Court had ruled that Vega versus Tekoh, I don't know how you say that, Tekoh,
Yeah, I
that
think you said it right.
okay, that a person cannot sue a police officer or under federal civil right laws for violating their Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination by failing to provide Miranda warning. Wow.
I don't know what more it's gonna take for people to understand what's happening. And I
Mhm.
mean, I think kind of touching back on what we just said, I think this whole Roe v. Wade thing is kind of making people understand it's like, hey guys, if they can get rid of your right to have an abortion, what's next?
Right.
I think everybody's starting to understand that part, and it's like, hey motherfuckers, took you 2 years, welcome to the party.
Right.
And I think that this is oh my
Yeah.
I just don't get how a regular logical thinking person could look at this and be like, "Oh yeah, that's all right." It's like,
The
dude,
thing is, yeah, nobody's asking for this. Nowhere have I seen people say, "Oh, we should get rid of Miranda rights." Like,
I just
where?
I just don't understand where you think I I'm actually baffled. It doesn't make any sense to me. If this isn't evidence that they're trying to induce chaos and divide you more than ever, I don't know what is. Like, you guys have to see the bigger picture here.
Right.
They're playing a 20-year game, and I don't think they're gonna win because especially with everything that just happened within the last month, I think a lot of people are starting to realize, hey, maybe the government doesn't have our best interest in mind.
Oh no, I
And
definitely agree. People are thinking that now, especially with all the protests going on and how women don't have rights in certain states, and they're like, "Well, why does it matter what sex I am if I can't, be free? It's America, the land of freedom," and we're not seeing that right now. And clearly, with all these rulings that they're passing, nobody is asking for these things, and they're just pulling it out of their ass because they got 2 years left with Biden in the office, the puppet, and they're trying to throw all this shit on us as fast as they can before it's too late.
well, here's the thing. It's like you guys only care when you have to. We didn't really have to go through any of this. But
Hmm.
since everybody just kind of went along with it, now they're going to keep on pushing the envelope and going harder and seeing how far they can go over the line. And I think that they probably crossed it a little too far
Oh yeah, they're still
with
crossing it.
abortion, but it's like, dude, a person cannot sue a police officer under federal civil rights for violating their Fifth Amendment right against self incrimination by failing to provide a Miranda warning. So you can't sue a police officer for violating the right to not self incriminate. Hmm,
That just shows they are against us.
that's an amendment.
Right. Right.
That is an
And
amendment.
yeah. What do you speaking of amendments, what do you think on the gun control? Being 18 and being able to buy an AR-15 and then 21 to buy a handgun. What do you think on that?
Here's all I'm gonna say about that. Either everybody's armed or nobody's armed.
Yep.
What do you think is going to make it worse? If everybody, or make it better? Do you think that if everybody has guns, there'll be a more civilized society, or do you think it's going to be more chaotic? What do you think is
Um
going to happen?
well, considering that you're allowing 18-year-olds to buy AR-15s when they're not even allowed to drink and make conscious decisions by themselves without their parents' help is stupid. I think that if we get rid of guns and considering that police are now not being able to be persecuted from allowing you to have your rights, that it's stupid to, allow guns only for the government because that's just more control they have over us. I think there
No,
needs to be
this is how it is in France. Do you remember that that terrorist attack that happened? It was it's super vague, but it was how a bunch of like French police officers had like tasers and they all fucking died. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm serious, like, they all
I know,
died.
yeah.
Like, they
Yeah.
all died from somebody who had a gun. I'm like,
Right.
"Okay, so let's take away people's guns, so then the people who have them are more powerful." That doesn't
Yep,
make any fucking
exactly.
sense to me, because
And yeah, that goes for either side of the government or for the people is because, if one has guns and the other doesn't, who is more powerful? I'm gonna listen to someone who has a gun rather than a taser.
well, no, it just makes sense, like, if everybody has guns, nobody's gonna fuck with anybody.
Right.
That's a common thought, right?
Well, yeah.
I think
There's
that's
a
a
study that I
common.
yeah, there's a study that I found that, what actually scares criminals from running away from the cops is the guns. Or they're
Well,
afraid of getting shot or blah
yeah.
blah blah. Exactly. So the thing is though, like it's the access to guns. I think 18-year-olds shouldn't be able to buy an AR-15 and there needs to be stricter background checks. I don't care if you have a gun as long as you're a conscious, capable person not doing stupid shit and protecting yourself and not trying to go into harm's way.
Right, but the whole point that I'm trying to make is that if you take the good people's guns, you're making the bad people more powerful. I
Oh
don't get
yeah,
why
yeah.
that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. It's like, "Hey guys, if there's less guns in our society, that means that if somebody starts spraying and praying in the street, that means it's gonna take a while before he gets shot down." And how
Yeah.
many
And
lives do you think could have been saved if even one of those people had a handgun and just decided, "You know what? Fuck this kid," and took him out? Because it's better to lose 5 lives than another 50.
yeah, but then we have the school shootings where one guy died and the bad guy, and then we have how many 14, 13 kids died?
It got a lot to fix.
Yeah. If he had a handgun, I guarantee you those numbers would be a lot lower.
I mean, that's up for debate as well. I mean, I don't know. I don't
I
know the
don't know either. I don't know the solution, but just people are just fucked up and we have a terrible society right now.
it has to be with better background checks, but I
That's
mean,
yeah, exactly.
then again, it's like you don't know who's gonna become a fucking psycho either, so that's also
Exactly.
something to consider. They could be a completely average looking person. Yeah,
Right.
it'd be background check, proven clinically insane by 3 psychologists, but still did it.
Yeah.
It
And that's
it
something
you
we'll
know,
never know. So Again,
Yeah,
I don't think we should take away guns because that would just cause more chaos. And
that's
again,
that
it's the
that is
left
a dumb
versus
idea.
right, blah blah blah. Neither side is good with anything.
Well, I
Um,
mean, there's pros and cons to everything, right? I mean,
right,
if you everybody gets a gun, there is a chance that there's people who are gonna abuse that, of course.
right.
The thing is that I think you have a better chance of stopping fucking shooters if the shooter knows that everybody's fucking loaded
Mhm.
or has a gun on them. Because I personally, if I was a terrorist, the whole point of of being a terrorist is to cause terror.
Right.
That's what it is, and you won't be able to do that if everybody could shoot you and send you to hell within an instant. Like as
Yeah.
soon as you shot the first bullet, at least four people have their guns out and
Mhm.
they're shooting at you already.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
so yeah, and the liberals want to take away guns and the Republicans want to um give teachers guns. Well, first of all, teachers aren't cops. That shouldn't be their duty. They only get paid
Um,
$45,000 a year
dude,
and
yeah,
expect to save lives? Are you serious?
you're
No,
literally
give me a goddamn pay raise.
you're literally so these people are teaching the youth of America, and now you're gonna force them to potentially have to shoot and kill a kid too. Like, no, they're not gonna do that. It should be a personal choice. And I
Exactly.
mean, there's also an issue of, what if fucking your arch nemesis is Connor in fifth period, and Connor pisses you off a little bit too much one day, and you fucking put a gun in his face? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's also something with that. So I think it's important to consider both aspects. But me personally, I would rather have everybody armed than nobody armed.
Yeah.
That,
Well,
that
then,
makes
well, we
more
had
sense to me.
cops. Yeah, we had cops in high school, and they had guns.
Yeah.
So why not issue that into elementary schools or middle schools? And it's sad that we have to do these sort of things because we have crazy people out there wanting to shoot kids
I don't think they actively want to do that. I think that they're either here's what I
by
think
the
happens.
government.
I think that
Yep.
they're forced to,
Yep.
or their family dies. I think that's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think that some of them are actually nuisance and want to do harm, and the other times the government is definitely behind it. Well, what caused a whole bunch? Well, after Uvalde, I don't know how you say it correctly, but um, a whole bunch of chaos started again. I'm pretty sure that was staged. I don't mean to sound cruel or inhumane by saying that, but once that happened, all of this stuff just started going out of chaos again.
100% set up. That
Yep.
there's no doubt in my mind that that wasn't set up. And my friends aren't they know what's going on, but they're really put it at the back of their minds, which I don't
Hmm.
blame them. I mean, I
Right.
wouldn't want this shit in my conscience either.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey guys, this shit doesn't just happen.
Right.
Like that's not really how any of this works. It's not really just like, oh, oh, damn, that's crazy. No, this
Hmm.
stuff has been set up and it's been in play for kind of a while.
It's sad. I don't. They did it to stir up something, stir up the
No,
pot.
it's literally, if you get nothing from this podcast or this episode, all you need to know is the whole point of what they're trying to do before November is to divide as much as possible and make your life a living hell. And then, they'll try to let up on the gas a little bit near election dates, and then they'll be like, see, it's not that bad. And then if we lose in November, which I can't say confidently that we will or won't, but how it's looking right now is that a lot of more people are understanding that it's fucked up. Like
Yeah.
shit's broken. So if we lose in November, then they are going to go 100 times harder, and it is going to be 10 times worse than you could ever imagine.
Right.
And this isn't. It's not all going to happen at once. They'll start off with what they're doing right now. They'll start off with the amendments, and then they'll slowly reduce your freedoms until we're basically China.
Yeah. I think there needs to be another party. Both sides are very corrupt, and a lot of kids in our generation are like more independent voting. But
No,
before I get into
but here's the thing though, is that you're gonna have to pick a side come election date, but I think it shouldn't be the question of which side, they're both fucked up. I think it's which side has a better chance of fixing this shit. Because it clearly isn't the
uh,
left. So that I mean, like, yeah, they have great policies and they want the best for people. I can understand that. But
mm,
I don't think people who voted for Joe Biden are thinking that this is what would happen. Like
no, they're all
2 years
regretting Joe
in.
Biden. I don't
I think it's
either
too
side either
yeah,
side has its perks and and each side has, a lot of downsides. And I do think that new people need to go in the office more connected with our generation and time and era to, fix these issues, and these old folks need to get out. That I think is the main reason, and behind all the corruptness and money there needs to be, fixing.
right. And I think personally, I think that the right has a better chance of fixing. I do. It doesn't mean I'm a conservative, but I think that the right has a better chance of fixing shit.
Yeah.
It's just seeming that way.
Yeah, I can agree on that, even though I don't like each side right now because of what's going on, but, that's my own opinion, and I can agree with what you have to say on that. To get into the next point really quick, because I think it's a more debatable topic and not so heavy on um, what we just previously talked about. So from the Columbus Dispatch News states that as soon as House Republicans passed a bill to block transgender girls from playing on female sport teams through K through 12, opponents started questioning how physicians would verify a minor's biology. So there in Ohio, they are trying to require undergo pelvic exams if the opposing team's coach or player parent question their sex. So they'll be making these girls go through pelvic exams just to check if they're transgender or not. What do you think on that?
Oh, they're gonna have so many fucking lawsuits.
Hmm.
Oh, that is gonna be such a mess. The amount oh, there's so many bad scenarios I see coming
Yeah.
out of that. Is that these girls are then sexually assaulted or
Yep.
it oh my it's just
It's just
this is what we're
perverted.
trying to tell you guys. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to make the world as worse as possible. Like
Exactly.
they're trying like do you think that that's okay to have one what are they
A
girls, right?
child
A
under
child.
18, a child.
A
Yeah.
child that can't consent, that doesn't know wrong from right, at least to the degree that they should.
Yeah, first of all,
And
they're figuring themselves out, and then to be scrutinized and then, sexually questioned and then have a pelvic exam just to make sure that you're a girl is stupid.
and
I
who
mean,
does it say who's gonna check them? Because if
exactly.
it's
It
a
could be
dude
some old perverted guy.
oh my god. Well, I mean, a girl
Yeah.
can sexually assault people too, but it's
Not yeah. Yeah.
they're gonna be so I don't even wanna think about the worst case scenario with that because there are a lot of them,
Yeah.
and they're gonna
Yeah.
that's a really bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, and I
Fucking
I play
stupid.
I play soccer, and I played in college, and I played in high school, and I've played against a trans woman, man to female, and I honestly couldn't tell the difference. I'm not trying to be rude. I literally had no issue playing with that, and half of these kids aren't good anyway at sports, so why does it matter? I could see it mattering in the Olympics and pro sports because men transitioning to women, they have the testosterone, blah blah blah, and that's a lot of argument on that. And then another argument the Republicans are saying is men that just dress up as women to go in the women's bathroom and assault kids. Well, again, that's yes, I can totally see how that's an issue, but you're fixating on perverted men that are doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
it could be the other way around too. Literally anybody could do that if they wanted
well,
to.
yeah, I'm not saying that, but statistically speaking, it's men that do it more often. But
Right.
what I'm trying to say is that a lot of true trans people want to go to the other um gender, and so that's their thing. But a lot of men or women that are perverted go do these things to get sexual advantages, but that's what separates the transgender folk who truly want to be, themselves and won't do that stupid shit, while the perverted people will dress up to say like, "Oh, well, I'm trans, so I'm gonna go in the women's or men's bathroom and assault little kids."
Jeez. What do you think about them pushing that onto the children, the next generation after us? Because that's,
Like,
like, if a man's not a if a man is not a man and a woman is not a woman anymore,
mhm.
dude, we're gonna have some fucked up kids. Like these kids
Well,
are already getting fucked up, and
right. Well, like, you mean like the "Don't Say Gay" bill, or is that
uh,
different?
I don't know if that's different.
Yeah, I think that's where it's up to a certain grade where they can't talk about any um like transgender, sex, gay, things like that. But I think it's just different what you're saying, right?
Well, I
But
mean, I think they're trying to impose kids as to like, be like, oh, if you want to, I'm not saying don't be who you are, but
mhm,
you're literally taking children who don't know any better and trust adults, mainly the, progressive teachers in their English class or something, and they're teaching them. It's like, oh yeah, you can be transgender. It's like, I remember when I was 12, I was thinking about, damn, what's the next
Minecraft, I don't
SpongeBob
know.
episode, you know? It's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, my friends are on Minecraft, cool. Like, yeah, let's play Minecraft." It's like I
Yeah,
wasn't
I
literally questioning my sexuality,
right,
especially at that young of an age where you're that
exactly.
impressionable.
I think where we start to see it a lot more is in middle school and high school, and I think resources should be available. Um, that's where it's most important. I don't think it should be illegal to talk about it because kids are curious, and you go to school for educational purposes. But I don't think starting it off that young is a great
No, there's
idea
there's
because
no
you can
reason
you
for
get
it.
you get kids confused.
Yes,
Lo-
absolutely. So I
yeah,
think
I
I
mean,
think it should be high school and beyond. There's no reason as to why a kid in elementary school should be told, "Oh yeah, you can chop your dick off if you want." It's
mhm,
like, no. Dude
yeah.
wants to play with Hot Wheels. Like, just let him play with Hot Wheels.
Or I
He's
mean, we do see kids though that are girls that are a tomboy, and that's okay. But why can't a little boy want to play with like ponies or Barbie dolls? If they have
I'm
that
not saying
interest
you
right
can't do
away,
that. I'm not saying you can't do any of that.
right?
You just might be gay or something. That's fine. But I'm not. All I'm saying is that you shouldn't be telling somebody, especially a child, to chop their dick off or get a dick if they're a certain age. And I think
Yeah,
that if any parent caught you saying something like that to their
they'd
kid,
be
it'd be a
irritated.
knuckle
Yeah,
sandwich.
yeah. And I don't think these teachers are doing that. I just think it's the Republicans or the Democrats taking it to the extreme and saying like, "Oh, well, teachers are saying this and that." I'm like, "Well, are you teacher? You don't know what's going." They have so many other things to worry about. Like maybe their kids not getting shot in school for them to worry about these things. I think they're just more concerned about having books in the library, sexual education, which they're not doing anymore that I've heard of. Trying to ban some sexual parenting. Yeah, in the southern states, it's just what I've been hearing. Like a lot of the states are banning contraceptions, banning Planned Parenthood, or not banning it, or and then they're not trying to do sexual classes or something like that. Where you have what are those classes that we went to when we were younger, and you learn about sex ed or something? Yeah,
It
sex
was
ed.
like my body changing or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. In the future,
I'm
I don't
really
know.
there's a chance that we can turn it around. I know that. I'm just not too sure that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's our generation. We are more woke and open to things, and people really don't care about what you decide to be. If you want to be a
no,
pineapple, go
no,
be a
no,
fucking
yeah, exactly,
pineapple.
exactly. We don't give a fuck if you're a guy or a girl or an attack helicopter or a 747. Like
Right.
nobody cares. What we care about is when you try to push it onto people. That's
Right.
where that's where you draw the line. It's like, dude, as long as you're not hurting anybody or pushing it on anybody, nobody cares. It's
Exactly.
okay. Like,
And
who the
yeah,
fuck
and
cares?
that's why people get really mad at the church because we have people knocking on our door. I just had the Jehovah Witness come over a few months ago and like terrorize me, like, "What's your name? You want to join?" I'm like, "Leave me alone. If I wanted to join your Jehovah Witness, I would have already." And
Fun fact,
no,
if you can sign, your friends up to be visited by Jehovah's Witnesses, so if you want some revenge or something or just wanna play a prank, you're welcome.
right? No, they make their women wear weird underwear. Like, you have to have a certain type of underwear. You can't wear like the normal ones. You have to wear a cloth, some type of diaper looking one. I'm like, why would I join that religion?
Oh, you have to,
Like,
like, wear a tablecloth?
something like that, yeah. One of my friends, one of my coworkers' moms was in a Jehovah Witness before she escaped, and was like, "Yeah, I had to do all these weird stuff," and I was like, "Oof." Um, yeah. So besides the point, as long, yeah, going back to like, just don't force anything on people. And the people that are in office now are very on the more conservative side, are in these churches, and they separate. I know they're supposed to separate church and state, but it doesn't really seem like it now. So
It's a different we have a different viewpoint. This goes back to what we were saying
exactly,
earlier. Our generation is completely different in the attitude and beliefs that we have on,
exactly.
if somebody's gay or
Trans,
yeah, that.
different sexual preferences, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
I really don't care. It's, I mean, cool.
it's like, bro, if you wanna, diddle yourself and wear clown makeup, go right ahead. Just
Right.
don't do it to anybody else, you
Well,
know?
let me ask you this, and this goes for anyone. When you go to bed, Tony, do you think about what Susie is doing behind her doors or what Clarence is doing behind his doors?
No.
Exactly.
'Cause I'm thinking
Why
about what
the
I'm doing.
Exactly. Nobody cares about, like, it's so funny because at the end of the day, you only care about yourself. All these
No,
people are
no, that's what
very
everybody does.
yes,
Everybody's a narcissist. Everybody only cares about themselves, and that's how it's gonna be. The only
right.
point at which people start caring is when it starts to affect them. That
Affect
could be a
them.
good
Yes.
or a bad thing.
And I'm
But
pretty sure, yeah, all of these political men and women have had abortions. I'm pretty sure one guy has got someone pregnant and she had to get an abortion because hush hush, right? And then
mm,
they go vote against these things. And I'm like, dude, again, come on.
well, the
And
thing
that's
is,
why,
it doesn't
yeah,
affect them. They don't have to live under it.
exactly. Because, yep, because they're rich and they can afford all these things.
Well, no,
And
they
like,
can just it doesn't matter. Like, they'll just be like, "Oh, you're part of the Senate? Okay, cool. You're fine.
yeah,
You're pardoned."
yeah.
It's like,
And
"What?"
yeah. And that's why I listed all the ages of these folks. They're old.
It's literally
They're
1,000 people making 7 billion lives like hell. That's
right.
all this is.
These folks are
It's very
outdated.
simple. It's literally 1,000 people making your life shitty.
How old is Biden real quick? Let me see how old.
Fucking
Age
85. I
of
don't know. Old enough to be in a nursing home. I know that for
He's
damn
80
sure.
years old. This man should be in retirement. Why is he our president?
Dude, I worked in when I was a caregiver, I worked in memory care. Bro, this man fits the description of like all the
Yeah,
people that I've seen in
yeah,
memory care, like to a T. Like he gets aggressive if, he's asked questions, random aggression, he's constantly stuttering,
yep,
kind of in a manic state. It's like, dude, this man is
yeah,
a patient.
yeah. Well, Trump isn't any better. He's 76. So, yeah. We just need a major upgrade. That's all I'm saying. And hopefully people start getting together and realizing that they deserve more than what the government is putting for them.
I just hope that people are starting to realize what the fuck's going on. And if you finally are starting to get all this, welcome to the party. It only took you 2 years.
Yep. So, yeah, that's all the points I had for today.
That's all I got. Yeah, I think that's all I got too.
Well,
All right.
just for wrapping up notes, just be you. You know, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with what we have to say, as long as you're your true self and you don't bother anyone else. Go right ahead.
Exactly. And if you did like listening to us, follow the podcast. We put out episodes when we can,
Yep.
and we'll see you in the next one.
Power. Money. Total control. Deny the lie.